Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I am going to show you exactly how I meal plan my entire year every December. Now, when most people find out that I plan my entire year of meals in advance, they have a lot of questions. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to answer some of the most common questions that I get about why I do this, and I want to show you some of the benefits that I see for meal planning this way. Then after I go over why I meal plan this way, I am going to show you what you need if you want to try meal planning this way yourself. And at the end, I will show you exactly how to do it. I will show you my entire process, and I'm going to film it and even time myself so I know exactly how long it takes me to plan out my entire year in advance. I have a guess for how long I think it will take me to do this, but I've never actually timed the whole process before, so I'm interested to see how long it actually takes as well. And if you don't really care about the reasons that I do this and you want to skip ahead to what you need and how I do it, I will put timestamps in the description down below so you can skip ahead if you want to. So let's get into some of the questions that I get when people find out that I meal plan for my entire year. The first question is, the whole year, really? And the answer is yes. So I use the Amy Knapp Big Grid Family Organizer to plan all of my meals for the entire year. And I love it because, as you can see, there is a spot for the dinner menu every single day of the year. So when I'm done with this project, every single dinner menu spot on this calendar will be full. And just in case you don't believe me, I will show you when I am done. So the answer to that question was yes, I do plan out my entire year of meals every December. And I've been doing it for about 4 years now, I believe. The second question that I get a lot is, why would you do this? Why would you sit down and plan out your entire year of meals in advance? And I have a couple answers to this question. The first is, I don't really like meal planning. So if I can batch this chore and do it once for the entire year, I will be very happy if I don't have to keep on doing it all throughout the year. And the second is that I find it much more efficient if I can just sit down and do it all at once, as opposed to coming back to it every single week or every single month all through the year. I've tried meal planning just about every other way, and this is the only way that I have been able to stick with meal planning for an entire year. Another question I get a lot is, why is this any better than planning out your meals 1 week or 1 month at a time? And like I touched on in the last answer, I find it to be much faster. Again, I am going to time every second that it takes me to do the meal plan this time so that you can see exactly how long it takes for an entire year's worth of meal planning. But I already know it is much less time than if I sit down and meal plan every single week. If you sit down and meal plan every single week, you are starting over every time you meal plan. You have to get out all your books, you have to get out your calendar or whatever you're writing your meal plan on, and you have to make decisions. And making the decisions for what your family is going to eat that week is the hardest part of meal planning. As moms, we already have so many decisions that we have to make every single day and every single week. And if we add meal planning into the mix, it is just one more thing or 7 more things that we have to decide on every single week. So if you can get all of those decisions done and out of the way, then you don't have to keep coming back to it and revisiting it and making those decisions over and over and over again. The next question is, what happens when I want something that is different than what's on the menu? And I don't know how else to break this to you except to show you, but writing with a pen and paper is not the same thing as writing in stone. And it's really easy to cross things out and write something new on there if that is what you want that week. But even if you have to make a little change here and there, you are still saving yourself so much time because you are making the bulk of your decisions well in advance. And the last question that I'm going to answer is, what happens when you have company? And depending on the situation and who the company is, I may do several different things. One is I might just stick with my meal plan. And I actually have a video about how to meal plan for the holidays in a very simple way using your yearly meal plan, and you can check that out here if you would like to see the full video. Another thing that I'll do if I know somebody is coming and I know a meal on my schedule is not their favorite, I might just skip it. I might just cross it out and put something completely different on there. Or if it's a meal that I was really looking forward to making, I might bump it into the next week and make some adjustments for the next week of my meal plan. Or this is a week from last year's calendar, and I just moved this meal to here and this meal to here and this meal way over there. It all worked out just fine. And it took me about 10 seconds to figure out the new way that I wanted to do the meals that week, as opposed to having to sit down for a half an hour with my cookbooks. So even if you have to make some adjustments here and there for company or for just life happening, I still think that it is way more efficient to do it this way and make the bulk of your decisions in advance. All right, now I'm going to show you exactly what I use for my meal planning in case you want to try meal planning this way as well. The first thing I have to have is what I already showed you, and that is my Big Grid Family Organizer. And I've used this for about 3 years in a row now, and I absolutely love it. I also have used her smaller family planner, a week-by-week planner, and that also works really well if you want to be more detailed with your meal planning and if you want to have more space to write for each day. This here is plenty of space for me and the things that I have going on during my week, but if you need more detail, her small planner is great. The first year that I did it, I actually used both just to see which I liked better. And I did realize that for me, I like the Big Grid better because I hang it on the inside door of my pantry and I have easy access to seeing what meals we are eating that week and what activities we have going on that week and that month. The next thing I always like to have is a fun pin, which for me, of course, is purple, because it just makes it a little bit more fun to write a whole bunch of things down when you're using a pen that you like and you enjoy seeing over and over and over again. And then I always make sure I have my favorite cookbooks, which, hang on, that's not in order. Let's organize the numbers of the cookbooks. Okay, that's much better. And yes, I have 6 cookbooks from the Revive Cafe, and that's because I absolutely love these cookbooks. And what I love about these cookbooks in particular, if you are looking for some plant-based cookbooks to add to your library, is they all have gorgeous pictures for every single recipe. All of the recipes feature ingredients that I would say most normal people would know what they are and be able to find them, which is surprisingly not true of a lot of plant-based cookbooks. And the recipes are really easy to follow. The only thing that I typically do is add a lot more seasonings than he suggests, but I just like a lot of seasoning in my food, so I'll typically double whatever spices he says to put into the recipe. But other than that, they're very unique recipes, but yet things that are easy for just about everyone to put together. So I have all of those cookbooks here with me as I am meal planning, and then I also keep a couple cookbooks from my childhood with my favorite childhood recipes in them. And I also love Vegan Yum Yum. My sister got this for me a couple years ago, and I've yet to try something in here that I didn't like. I would say the recipes are a little bit more complicated than, say, the Revive Cafe ones, but I do really like this cookbook as well. And then the last thing that I use for my meal planning is an Excel spreadsheet. And my parents tease me that we have spreadsheets for everything, and we kind of do. I have a spreadsheet that I keep all of my meal planning information in so that I don't have to reinvent the wheel for when I do certain rotations, which I'll explain a little bit more as we get going. But I also keep track of which meals we have tried, which ones we liked, which ones we didn't like and don't need to do again, because as the years go by, it can be kind of hard to remember. Have we tried this and we just didn't like it? Is that why we didn't make it again? Or did we love it and we just forgot about it? So I'll make notes in the spreadsheet, and it just helps me keep track, and it makes the process even quicker as the years go by. So now that we have everything ready, let's get started. The first thing that you'll want to do is assign theme nights for each night of your week. I have an entire video about how to choose your theme nights with a bunch of different theme night ideas, but basically you want to assign some sort of theme to each day of the week. So Monday will have a theme, Tuesday will have a theme, Wednesday will have a theme, and so on. I like to use a combination of simple and complex theme nights. That way we don't get bored with eating the exact same meals every single week, but it also doesn't become so complicated that we end up throwing the menu out the window. Now, once you have your theme night set, you can start writing things in your meal plan. I always start by writing in my Thursday nights, because Thursday nights at our house is leftover night. And all I have to do is write leftovers on every single Thursday throughout the year. And then I'm done with Thursdays for my entire year. And the next day that I'll typically do is Tuesday. Tuesday is another easy theme night for me, and we just make our vegan mac and cheese pretty much every Tuesday. I do Tuesdays and Thursdays as easy theme nights because everything that's been going on in 2020, we had swimming lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And swimming lessons happened right before dinner, and I didn't want to have to take a lot of time preparing dinner on those days so I could get the kids right to bed. So I think that I will keep it the same this year because I'm hoping that we won't go an entire another year without swimming lessons. And if for some reason next December, if things are still crazy and we don't have swimming lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I might switch it up. But I think for this year, I'm just going to keep it the same in hopes that everything will go back to normal and we can start swimming lessons again in a couple months or so. So now I'm just going to go through the calendar just the way I did with Thursday and write mac and cheese on every single Tuesday. And then I'm done with Tuesday. So I just flip back to January and figure out which day I'm going to do next. And I think that I'm going to do Friday next. Now, Friday for us is a little bit different than Tuesday and Thursday. Friday is what we call our build it meal night. So it is any meal that each person puts their own plate together. So things like burritos and tacos, any food like that would go on our build it meal night. So instead of having to think up a bunch of different build it meals every single year, I keep a list in my spreadsheet, and I actually have 11, it looks like, and I just go through and I rotate them throughout the whole year. So now all I'm going to do is put falafels on the first one, tacos on the next one, and so on, and go down all through the list until I have the entire year done. And now I'm done with all my Fridays for the year. So again, I flip back to January and I figure out which day I'm going to do next. And that's really all there is to this. I'm just going to keep doing one day at a time, flipping back and finishing the calendar. And I was really trying to think if there were any more steps that I could give you to show you how to do this process and maybe make it seem a little bit more sophisticated, but that's really all there is to it. You just figure out your themes, and then you carry the theme through the whole year instead of having to come up with a brand new plan every single week. So I think what I'm going to do next is Saturday. And Saturday's a little bit different of a day for us. Typically, again, pre everything that's been going on in the world this last year, we would go to church on Saturday. So our bigger meal of the day would be lunchtime, and we would do Haystacks for lunchtime, and that's basically just like a taco salad. And then often lunch ends up being kind of a later meal for us, typically 2 or 3 in the afternoon on Saturdays, because church gets out a little later and you end up chatting after church, and it just ends up being a little bit later of a lunch day. So then for supper, we aren't typically as hungry, and we will do snack foods or light suppers. So again, I have a rotation in my spreadsheet, and I will just go through and put in all of those light suppers, and I will put in Haystacks for the dinner menu, because typically on all the other days, we just do leftovers for lunch. And Saturday, we will do the Haystacks. So now I'm just gonna go through and write down Haystacks, and also whichever of the suppers that we will do for which day. Saturday is done for the whole year. So I flip back to January and I decide which days I am going to do next. Now I am down to Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. And I am thinking that I may switch up my theme a little bit for either Sunday or Monday. So I'm going to think about that for just a second before I decide which day I'm going to do next. Okay, so I've decided to keep my theme for Sunday night the same as this last year. And that theme was family favorites that take a while to make, because typically we have more time on Sundays, and since Ross doesn't work on Sundays, I have a little bit more help, so that means I have a little bit more time to prepare dinner. So we will do things like pot pie or homemade pizza, things that just take too long to prepare during the rest of the week. So I am going to go ahead and do Sunday next, and again, I will be working off the spreadsheet for this, so I can see which meals take a little bit longer and which meals are on our favorites list already. And I also have a category on here for difficulty, so I can easily see which meals are more difficult to make and see which meals we want to make on a Sunday versus a different day of the week. So as I'm writing down the meals for Sunday, you'll probably see I will be skipping around a lot more throughout the calendar. And that's because for each meal on our family favorite sheet, I actually have a column for how often we want to eat it. If we are trying a new meal and everyone seems to really like it, I will ask them, how often in a perfect world would you want to eat this? So something like pot pie, for example, they said they would like to eat that as much as every other month, or maybe even more if I wanted to make it that often. But it's quite time consuming and I don't really want to make it more than every other month. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I will write it on January and then March and so on throughout the calendar to make sure that we get it in several times during the year. And another thought for why I'm skipping around a lot on Sundays is because I also have the meals categorized by which season they work best in. So again, using the example of pot pie, that's a great one for in the winter, in the fall, when it's a little bit cold outside. And it isn't one that we want to do as much in the summer because it's kind of a hot meal to eat. And when I cook in the oven, it kind of heats up our whole downstairs. So it's not a lot of fun to make it or to eat it in the summer. So I will also make sure that I am putting it in the appropriate season, as well as making sure that we eat it as often as we would like to. And I think I got all of Sunday now. So I'm going to flip back to the beginning once again, and I'm just deciding if I want to do Monday or Tuesday. Sorry, Monday or Wednesday next. We have already done Tuesday. So right after I finished doing Sunday, my kids woke up and I wasn't able to complete this earlier. So I am going to finish it up now that everyone is in bed for the night. And I think I am going to go ahead and do Monday next. And Monday this last year has been another family favorites night for us. So on Mondays, I would do all of our family favorites that were really easy and quick to prepare. And then, like I said before, Sunday was those family favorites that take a little longer and are a little bit more challenging to get done in a timely manner. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do Monday now. And again, I'll be looking at the spreadsheet to see which of the family favorites are easy and which ones we want to do in which season and how often we want to do each one. And now my last step is to go back through and put new meals on any Wednesdays that I haven't filled out yet. To make this process a little bit faster, I keep a Pinterest board of new recipes that I want to try in the coming year. So I'm going to go on Pinterest now and fill in the rest of my calendar. And that does it. The calendar for the entire year is filled up with dinner ideas for every single night. So I won't have to worry about meal planning again until next December. Now, before I forget, it took me 2 hours and 45 minutes and 45 seconds to plan out all of my meals for the entire year. Now, when I was meal planning every week, it would take me at least a half an hour and sometimes more to plan out my meals for 1 week. But doing it this way and making all of the decisions ahead of time, I find to be much easier and much more efficient. For some reason, it is easier for me to make a decision about what I want to eat next June, for example, than it is to decide what I want to eat next week. But when June comes around, the decision has already been made and I don't have to make the decision at that time. So let me know in the comments down below if you are going to try meal planning this way, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Again, I'm Kassy with makingtimeforgiggles.com, and I make videos about making mom life simple. So be sure to subscribe down below and ring the bell next to it if you would like to see more videos like this one.